Hello. Hello, hello, hello. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Believe in the Dallas Cowboys. I'm Jeff Cavanaugh. You can hear me on 97.1 The Freak. That is former Cowboys wide receiver Jesse Holley.
Oh, Jesse Holley went 77 yards. It must be a reality show.
This whole damn presentation is brought to you by our friends at Bet Online, the last of the major pro sports. Kicked off this week. Bet Online is your top spot for all your NBA action this week. And we got the MLB postseason, NFL, college football, NHL, all going. Bet Online, your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions. Get everything NBA at your fingertips with both desktop and mobile access for every sport anytime. Head to Bet Online today and get in on the action. Don't forget to use promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, where the game starts. Congratulations to Taylor Swift. I saw as of this morning, she's a billionaire, and I'm proud to have been the one to put her over the top by going to see her Eras Tour film last night. You are welcome, Tay-Tay, and happy billionairing. Hey, Jesse.
What's up, bro? So how was the film? You went and saw it. What was it? It was a cinematic version of all her concerts behind the scenes stuff.
No, there's not a single behind the scenes thing to it. It's literally just a viewing of her stadium at SoFi. That's it. It's just her whole concert at SoFi. And I saw it at AT&T, so I didn't need to see it. But I went with friends to a Stars game last week, and while I was 3/4 drunk, they were like, "Hey, we're going to do the Taylor thing," and I was like, "Cool," and then whatever. So Cowboys-Rams, huh? SoFi. Cowboys-Rams. I don't
know. No, Cowboys-Rams, AT&T.
Well, no, but SoFi is where they do play, and that's where the movie I saw last night.
Yeah, and if you watched the game last week from SoFi, they had some one of the local rappers had some ladies of the night, the pole ladies.
I saw that. What is his name? Blueface?
Yeah. I wish I didn't know that. I honestly wish my life had existed forever and not knowing that that's a name that I can readily spit off because of the nonsense that he's a part of. But yeah,
Matt Stafford's wife was upset.
Yeah.
She didn't like that Blueface had strippers in the suite at the game, and she said that because her, I don't know, some family member saw it on Instagram, that she was like, I don't want to be at this stadium if this is going on. And I'm like, well, what you saw is what somebody saw on Instagram. He could have had strippers anywhere, and your family member would have seen it because clearly they follow him on Instagram. So the problem wasn't the stadium. What are you doing, weirdo?
I don't know Matthew Stafford's wife at all, but this isn't the first time she's publicly said something that she had absolutely nothing to do about and probably should have just, minded her own business in it. She gives off the very, very, very South Lake Karen vibes. Shout out to all my folks in South Lake.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, she has a podcast. That's the problem. Anytime somebody who is not the player has a podcast, I would be like, oh crap. It's like you see Jackson Mahomes has started creeping towards Taylor and Mahomes' wife Brittany.
Yeah.
He's going to end up TikToking this crap, and that's going to be the end. That's when I quit. Like, you got lawsuits to deal with, brother. Stop touching people who didn't ask you to. Let's start there. Let's start there, buddy. But anyway.
Oh, to the game.
How about Cowboys-Rams? Hey, while we're not doing anything productive, Jesse, what are the odds you want to do radio for free today? Our company doesn't have any money, but we are short a person. You want gift cards to Specs that you can sell on the black market? Cowboys-Rams, though. Rams they're so weird because there's some really big names and some really good players, and there's some things about them that you're like, man, that's tough to stop. And yet at the end of the day, boy, they're pretty average. So as you're going into Cowboys and Rams, what are you looking for from the good guys?
Well, for me, for the Cowboys, I'm looking to see. I'm starting at the top. I'm holding accountability at the top, and I'm looking to see, can Mike McCarthy and Dan Quinn use the time that they've had over this bye week to tweak some things, to twerk some things. Well, maybe not twerk some things, but definitely tweak some things. Definitely tweak some things. And I was having this thought, and then yesterday, former Super Bowl winning coach and former Pittsburgh Steelers coach, I just drew a blank.
Bill Cowher?
Bill Cowher, thank you. Bill Cowher talked about this is the time of the year where coaches begin to really earn their coaching and money title. He's like, when you get to that like 6th, 7th, 8th game of the season, after you come back from a bye, and he wasn't even speaking about the Dallas Cowboys, but I thought it was just fitting. He said, this is when you have to coach. This is when you have to be able to say, here is our plan, right? Because we're not doing a wholesale change in the middle of the season. Unless we have some traumatic injuries to our roster, we're not doing wholesale changes. Whatever's in is in. And he says, how best can you, one, motivate your guys every single day to come to practice, to come to work, to watch film, to really dig in to the season and what's ahead of them. He said, two, how can you get creative in what you already have? How are you able to tweak the things that you already have to give your players and your coaching staff the best opportunities week in and week out? And he says, this is the part of the year a lot of times where coaches got to coach. You got to be able to get into a game and really, really coach. So I'm hoping to see that there is a change of the way that they've been going about things offensively and defensively. I know that there's been some injuries on that side, but I'll stay on the offensive side for right now. But offensively, getting more creative. Brandon Cooks, a guy who you brought in to be your bona fide number 2 veteran receiver, has the skill set. Has been a 1,000-yard receiver every single where he's gone, that he's played enough games to kind of find himself in that category. Right now, after 5 games of the NFL season, Brandon Cooks has 13 catches for 109 yards and 1 touchdown. Just to give you kind of a little reference of that, A.J. Brown had 10 catches, 137 yards, and a touchdown last week. So Brandon Cooks has what some would say a game's worth of work and in the entire season. And the Cowboys still, I think, only have 2 or 3 20-plus yard plays in their passing game this season. 6 games in. Your number 1 receiver, when you go down the list, he has 34 catches right now. That will put him somewhere along the lines of maybe in receptions, maybe like the 19th, 20th receiver in the National Football League right now. Those type of things just can't happen. I'm happy to hear that the Cowboys got their running game coordinator and their running back coach back after he missed some time due to personal health and other things that he had to deal with. But the running game just hasn't been where it needs to be. And so all these things you're looking at, and the trade deadline is looming, of course. But for me, I'm starting at the top, and I'm saying, all right, Mike, for whatever you're worth, whatever you have left in the tank, can you figure out a way to not be stubborn in the way that you want to do things, but also understand that you have to have some sort of change if this thing is going to work for this football team? And it starts with you, it ends with you, and this is the week that we get a chance to see it. We got to get going.
Yeah, and I don't like the running game. It's fun to watch the things that people will click on, because the things that people will click on is like hot names and catchwords. Right. And so like I've seen trade, and like trade for Derrick Henry and all these different things. And like, cool, if the Cowboys traded for a guy that's good at football that can help them win at football, I'm in. But I would just say this: when it comes to the running game, if you want to fix the running game, it is very, very rare that a running back is the answer to that. The answer to that is either schematic or Terrence Steele and Tyler Biadasz blocking better in the run game. Yeah. And so it is fun, though. I love the idea of trading for people all the time. Like, do I want to trade for a receiver? Hell yeah, let's do it. Let's go get Devontae Adams. Let's go get all the good players. But right now,
I'll be honest with you. Go get me Gabe Davis.
Yeah, I think Gabe Davis kind of sucks.
I
think that dude can't get open to save his life.
I think he would help our red zone woes tremendously.
Okay, at least big body guy. But it doesn't, like, for what? You got to show me that you can get the ball to a wide receiver before I'm worried about adding more wide receivers. Like Brandon Cooks is on pace for what'd you say? 100? So he's on pace for about a 360-yard season. We want to add another guy? Yeah. Here's Devontae Adams, season stats: 38 catches for 410. Yeah. How's he feeling at the end of the year? But I'm looking forward to the thing that's fun about watching the Rams play is just that, like, Matt Stafford's going to deliver the ball, and they throw to 2 dudes a lot. So, like, I do, like, you go to Bet Online and you bet the props on Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, and you watch them sling it around, and then Matt's going to throw 1 pick, get sacked 4 times, not score in the red zone a decent amount of times, and you're going to win like 27-20, but his 2 receivers are going to total 26 catches for 300 and a tutty. And so like when you just watch them play and you see how often they can get the ball to who they want to get the ball to and how some of those plays look, it doesn't really make sense that they score 22 points a game. But that's football. Like Brandon Cooks would love being there. He wouldn't win as many games, but they would probably figure out how to get him the ball before they threw their picks and took their sacks, and their defense wasn't as good as the Cowboys. So the Rams are fun to watch play offense. It just hadn't resulted in them being very good at football because they've got the names but the rest of the roster is very important.
Yeah.
And they ain't got it.
No, you're right. And I think a lot of that happens on the defensive end. When you look at what Raheem Morris wants to do, he runs a 3-4 scheme. I particularly like to call it a 5-2-4. And the reason why I like to call it a 5-2-4 is because of the size, of the guys up front. I mean, yes, we know Aaron Donald, but you're talking about your 3-4 defensive ends or linebackers, whatever you want to call them. One of them is 310 pounds. Like, and if Young, they have listed as 250. If Young is 250 pounds, I'm light skinned. And last I checked, I'm not the fairest of the skin of brothers. That dope ain't 250 pounds. He's at least 265, 275, like with long arms. So it looks like a 3-4, but it feels like a 5-2-4. And then Raheem, he wants to do all these things on the back end and disguise coverage and have these post-snap different looks. The problem is always when you, as a defensive coordinator, and you come from these different places and you have the Jimmies and Joes to actually execute those things, it's phenomenal.
It's harder when they can't play.
It's phenomenal when you have guys who have range and intelligence and athletic ability and speed and just finesse. But then when you try to take that same framework and you input it in and don't get me wrong, right? As a career Jag myself, right? I respect the Jags, no, 100%. But it just looks different when you see what it was before when he had some name brand players back there to what he has now, and you're looking around like, who is that guy? Where's that guy? Like, you really have to break out the roster and figure out where's this guy from? Where's this guy from? Never heard of this guy before. Oh yeah, there's Aaron Donald. And then so you try to do these things, and he goes, oh, I see why they're leaving guys wide open and why they can't pass guys off and why the middle of the field is consistently open. Ferg, I hope you get some action this week down the middle of the field. But it's like, I see what you're trying to do, Raheem. I see, Radio Raheem. I see what you're trying to do. The only issue is you just don't have the thoroughbreds to really run this race. You know, your quarter horses ain't you don't have the secretaries out there. You don't have those guys out there. So you kind of, got to scale back. But, coaches are stubborn and they're going to do what they're going to do. And they're going to say, you just have to execute better. It's like, yeah, he wants to execute well. He really, really does want to execute. Problem is he's not who you think he is. I know who you want him to be. You had some guys like that before. He's not that. And they have a bunch of those guys on defense. And I think, when you look at that offense, long drives and long fields they have to take, it can sometimes get a little bit wacky. But number 99, still a good football player.
Jeff's favorite matchups to watch: Cowboys-Rams. Number one, this is a test for Dan Quinn, which you already mentioned. Coaches got to earn their money right about now. This is one for Dan Quinn because you're going to run into another offense that loves moving people around before the snap, at the snap, all the different things. Can your team? Can you be assignment sound and know what your job is when this dude runs that way, and then right when he finishes, whoops, that guy's going over here, and that guy's going to line up behind that guy. We still remember what we're doing, everybody? We got that figured out? We're going to have to play assignment sound football. Favorite matchup for the Cowboys to have the advantage? Cowboys have the best pass rush in football, depending on how you measure those things. I like pass rush win rate and how often on dropbacks do you get pressure. Cowboys are number one in football. Cowboys have a very good pass rush, and the Rams' offensive line is not all that.
Very good pass rush or very good pass rusher?
I mean, they go together.
Okay, all right.
I think Osa's having his best year. I think Tank is still good. Fowler gets home some. I think Parsons is obviously the engine, but the Cowboys have a good pass rush. They definitely have a good pass rusher, but that helps them have a good pass rush. But I think I think the number I saw yesterday, they get pressure on 51% of pass plays. The Cowboys do. Next best is like 42 or 43 is Cleveland. But the Cowboys, over half the time you drop back, your quarterback is going to be pressured. And the Rams are not the best equipped team to stop that, nor is their quarterback. So that is the matchup. That is the reason that Dan Quinn and his defense should be able to handle this team. You should be able to play in front. You should be able to beat the Rams. Cowboys 27, Rams 20.
Yeah, I do too have the Cowboys winning this football game. They should win this football game. This is the time of the year, like I said before, you got to get going. Like you got to get going. You got to stretch your games minus the Eagles that you kind of Rams, Eagles. Then you have like Carolina, Washington, New York. Like you have some games in there where you should be able to run off about a good 6 or 7 in that time frame before you get to that late November, December schedule where you got to go Buffalo, Miami. Who else is in there? Seattle, some good teams in there. So they got to get going. So I got the Cowboys also winning this game. I think I had, what did I say the other day? I said 27, 20. I said 27. Let's go 27-17. Let's go 27-17 like that. I like the way that sounds. 27-17.
It's a damn NFL blowout is what that is.
Yeah.
All right. Go Rangers. Oh, wait, that's some free on the border plug. I didn't realize that was on my playoff towel. Congrats to On the Border.
Let's go Rangers.
Thanks to our friends at Bet Online. This is Believe in the Dallas Cowboys. Remember, you have no idea what anyone is going through, so be cool to everyone. We love you. Be easy.
Eliminate the contingencies.
Taylor did the heart thing in her concert last night.
You stole it from me.